want to share that I just lost my daughter this morning.
Thank you.
I lost my daughter this morning at 2 in the morning. For the past 1 week, I have had discussions with the people here at the force headquarters about the fact that I have a predicament. I have a daughter who is dying. They asked me for documentation to prove that the young lady was coming back from India, or the information from the doctors that she had a terminal illness, including the fact that there was a statement that she was dying. But they still insisted that I had to come to the police station, whatever this place is called. So I came as a mourning mother to come for interrogation. And I was ready to be interrogated, and whatever they decided they want to do, I told them to go ahead and do it. But my lawyer decided that I shouldn't go ahead and do it. But I was ready because I don't know what's happening to this country. And this is exactly my position. There is no love in this country. There's no empathy in this country. There's no anything where, when your friends have a bereavement, it makes sense to other people. So I'm here as a grieving mother, and I availed myself for the interrogation or whatever was decided had to be done to me. And I will be available, but I have to mourn. And the mourning doesn't take 1 week or 1 day or whatever. So that's it. I came today. Now I'll be available when I'm finished mourning.
Very sad. The police were even doubting. Are you sure that
come to you because everybody remembers that you opposed the burial of Dr. Kaunda at Embassy Park. It eventually did happen. You had made an effort to have the court to review the decision which cabinet had made to bury Dr. Kaunda at the park. It went on anyway. Your case was looked at after the burial had taken place. So the decision went against what you indicated as being your father's wishes, as it were. What are your thoughts now? Because there's some similarities here. What is your thought?
Well, what has happened now is that because of that ruling, which, by the way, didn't specify that I'd actually lost, but it ruled in the interest of the country. If we're going to go by the book and by the law, I did not lose that case, but I didn't appeal because I took it that the nation's interest was higher than either my father's interest himself, as his wish was when he was alive, or some members of the family. So we let it go. We could have appealed, but we let it go. And that's why I'm saying that as much as it was our right as a family to say we want our father's body to be taken here or put there to rest as his wish was, we overlooked that in the interest of the nation. People wanted him buried at that site, and I know had he been alive and we talked to him about it, he himself eventually said, all right, let's do it that way. If that's what the people want, then we do it like that. That was the reasoning behind the decision not to appeal what transpired in the courts that time.
Right. That means remember that you didn't attend that. burial?
No, I
the
didn't.
procession.
I didn't. That's what I'm saying. You see,
Right.
only 6 of us in this population of Zambia of 20 million or so. Only 6 families have been through this. So I can understand the hurt that the Lungu family are going through. We went through it. But you must compromise with government, which is what we did. We didn't just get bullied, and government didn't take that approach. Neither did we just be stubborn and say we're unmovable, but we made our opinions felt and our feelings felt. And at that time, the anger that some of us had in putting the old man at a place where he, by the way, didn't want to go there. And I spent a lot of the last few years with him. And each time would pass the embassy park, he would say a prayer and then say, "Vanapa, we can get up." All the time. We can get up. I remember one time we found a front-end loader doing some work on that site. That's after Mpanawas had been buried there. I think Chulu had been buried there. And we found a front-end loader was doing some work there. And Dad was very upset. He says, "Who do they think is going next that they're preparing the ground like that?" So we said, "Dad, I think it's for you." He says, "Well, why are they doing that?" I said, "Okay, we'll find out what is going on." What we did, they were preparing some parking for the buildings that they were doing there. So later on, "No, Dad, it wasn't for you." He says, "Well, I hope not, because that's evil." I said, "No, Dad, if anything happens which requires your knowledge, they will tell you." And unfortunately, he passed away before anybody could really talk to him about it. And that's, for me, I was trying to simply do what he had wanted, which is not to be put there. But, you know, a tradition has been put in place, and we accepted, and here we are today. And that is why I'm hoping, for the sake of the country, that the former first family of the Lungus.
Nomba iringiri ne, it's lack of wisdom. No kuitemwa. Pantu baka inde chilema padaba ikara pa community house. Tepo badingiri okuikara. Tualiranda tualina ka. Baka inde chilema bali kanini na fiendi bakora na parulimi. Nomba imwecho mwala patikisha edika chagwa Lungu. Kwa bati webo so senda liapa chinshi. Echo mwala patikisha edika chagwa Lungu. Kwa bati mpaka femwise mdodo shena mchala chinshi. You know, alalimo fwebe na Zambia. Tuirasende fintu mumusamwe. Ero tuwasale nchi tungurushi. Ala tuwalikwa tomulimo na umbi ukalamba. Kwambo kulaso peshi ntungurushi. Kula monefe bale chita. Pushe bale chitefia mano nangu. Bale chitefia gula mano. Baka inde chile mabu. Vyonse ni mumoso tunia rodi. Wii baba tuwala. Uruchelo bafuma. Balanchi baya. Ichungulo bafuma. Just like that. Tualirufishamo na abantu imyewo mumuse bomu. Mabunka. Kapokolo ya ile fuila po. Because baka inde chile mabasala po kupitana. Bakunganda kumuabo. Bashenga nde ya chalo. Once 6 bakateka. Baikile munga nde ya chalo. Bena bakana. Nomba imwecho mwala patikisha Edgar Lungu. Mwawela mwafikana at the point of ukutufulo uchindami. Kamina South Africa. Ala tatu wakawada tuchinda mapo kubenso ya bina South Africa. Ala na mugu chushi wesu mkutola isha tuwali haba chindama. Nombe chumwa chita mwafule chalo cha Zambia kuchindami. South Africa fiero budi habu shiku. Otu haya chindamika. Ala bane ifintu fimo mule bala mwatu tubala. Mwekala kotondolo mwatontonganya. Mwapisha kwe fintu fimo muli campingu kwe batubishi kwe chinga tuwachita chalalo la mwisa. Nombanga mwaluso mulando. Ero chibeshane. Ero chivipishe apapene na pema nembula mano shimo. Ishambiri okulanda te abale chitefe bali kwa temilandu kuno. Nomba, how is it connected? Kubulirwa mano. inenalilando kuba ti administration ubwafe yakwata bateeke ekyalo n'ekintinya bateeke ekyalo n'okuzimya abantu yo kachimona yo wala chimona ompaka kano fenga ne yusi tabateeke ekyalo efyo efyo ekyalo kyesu kiberere so stressed up abantu badi ba stressed abantu badi amba n'okukota because of the stress mumule tupisha 24 years ale muneka kwati ninevo stress vaakainde echirema chibukeni abo abantu mwachetekero kwe bati they advising you well ambeni kuba chenchenta bwino tabeminini apasoma iyo aro.
Good evening and welcome to today's broadcast on the day of the Lord 30th June, Monday 30th June 2025. I started by playing a video of Professor Nkandluo, the former cabinet minister, who was summoned to the police. We understand it's over her interview with Prime TV regarding the stated call out of during the funeral of the late president. At the height of it, there was information that the children of the late president had been summoned to the Drug Enforcement Commission. So she gave an interview according to the knowledge she had when Prime TV called her. We hear that's a matter the police are pursuing. It could be with other matters too. Unfortunately, Professor Nkandluo has been nursing her daughter, her adopted daughter, Dr. Winnie Kunda. Dr. Winnie Kunda has been battling cancer and she's been in India for several times for some time. And when she returned from India last week, I think she came straight to the University Teaching Hospital. It was an end-of-life process. And when the police service headquarters were calling her, she said, I've just received a patient from India, my daughter, and I'm unable to come because I'm nursing her. We don't know what it will be, even in the next hour or next day. And she had just come from the funeral of the mother to Honorable Jean Kapata. But the police were relentless. Remember what they would do to Mama Edith Nawaku. Even when she told them I'm unwell, they doubted that she was unwell. At one time, the police even applied to, the prosecutor applied to the court for the court to move to the bedroom of Edith Nawaku. Their lack of humanity in the carrying out of their duties is extremely shocking. We don't know if it explains the kind of pressure they are under from their supervisors, where they mock the sickness of people, they mock the bereavement of people, and the call out to Mama Nkandluo just confirms actually what she was talking about, that they can call you even when you are mourning. In the case of Daliso and Chieso, although they issued statement that they were not called by the police, but there was credible information that they were summoned by the police. Here herself, she has lost Dr. Winnie Kunda, and the newspaper from the rogue newspaper from State House was already mocking her. That no, this Dr. Kaunda, the other people, Dr. Kunda, the other people that are claiming parentage, well, she was an adopted daughter, and there's no need for the Causeway page from State House to be that insensitive and begin to doubt now. Not only that she had died, now they are doubting if she's a daughter to Professor Nkandluo. Professor Nkandluo has raised her. Remember, Professor Nkandluo did a first degree in Russia. Dr. Winnie Kunda went to Russia for a medicine training. That's why I started with that video. How insensitive this government is. Even when you say, I've got a bereavement, not a distant bereavement, the bereavement of my own daughter, they still call you. The bereavement of your own father, they still call you. I don't know what it is they are pushing. We wish that they could expend similar amount of pressure to the current corruption going on in this government, to the current wrongs going on in this government, to the current cyber crimes being committed by Koswe every day. I wish they could shift their attention to the current crimes being committed by this government. No, they're just determined to pursue political opponents of the late president, critics of the political opponents of the current president, critics of the current president. So may the soul of the late Dr. Winnie Kunda lay in peace. Our professor has a funeral at her house, and for those that wish to visit her, they can visit her during this difficult period. We lost the president. We lost Jean Kapata's mother just last week. Now we have lost Dr. Winnie Kunda. A sad, difficult period for all of us. Today, we are discussing an update regarding the late president, where we are going. And we will be discussing what we know so far, what is happening. And then there is an issue of the economics of Mr. Msokotwane. Honorable Dr. Situmbeko Msokotwane has presented a national supplementary budget of $1.3 billion. We'll be discussing that particular matter. Regarding the late president, let's start with that. You are aware that last week a matter was in court where the state refused for the burial to take place. They applied to court that the court should halt the funeral and burial process. An amicable understanding was struck, tabled before court, and the family decided to suspend, together with the state. They agreed that the funeral and burial will be suspended until there is an amicable settlement. And many people are saying, including the court stated that the Attorney General, we hope that between now and the dates given, the government and the family could talk and maybe reach an amicable settlement during this period. So far, the Attorney General hasn't moved to file his motion. He hasn't moved into file proceeding papers after getting that order from court. All we've seen are shadowy things, very shadowy things happening, where we hear there are men and women from Lusaka threatening to access a body, to steal the body. There are a lot of things that are happening in the background, and it's very, very distressing for the family to hear all these reports and to be texted about, these threats that exist both against Makebi Zulu and against the family, even against the late president's remains, where we hear that there are attempts to access a body illegally. Now, what is this desperation about the body? What is this desperation about the body? Sishua wrote a wonderful piece the other day where he accused the president, that is from his knowledge, that the president wants to access his body for occult reason. It was a very, very strong write-up. You know how Sishua is. You must have seen that write-up. It's called The Occult, the President and the Body, Understanding Zambia's Legal Action Against the Lungu Family. What is a standoff? The family says, in this entire process, President Hakainde Hichilema must be absent from the funeral process. They've even proceeded to secure the remains of the late president. It was in the orders of the court. And if a funeral has to take place in Zambia, they've said the remains should lie at Chifwema the entire time. But during the negotiation, there was a compromise where President Hakainde Hichilema was allowed a period in which he could be present where the body is when, for example, he hosts heads of states from the region during the funeral and burial of the president, or a church service for the dignitaries from across the country, across the world, who are friends to the late president. So Dr. Sishua wrote The Occult, the President and the Body, And now we have seen, a Masonic conference being held in Livingston, and people have been excited on social media that this is what we've been talking about. All of a sudden, the Freemasons are free. They can interact freely. They can make donations freely. They are now being covered in newspapers freely over their donation. For example, they promised to build a school in Chilanga, and people are connecting all these dots. Remember, President Hichilema has refused that he's not a member of the Freemasons. I've got a video here, I'll play it, where he denied that he's a member of the Freemasons. Today, the Daily Revelation spoke to members of the Freemasons who said, what are you talking about? We are just a fraternal organization. Even bishops, pastors, artists are members of us. So again, that brought a spur of discussion in the country and on social media over the role of this underworld, this spiritual matter, And it's not alien. Remember when President Robert Mugabe died, the family also put up similar conditions that the body should not leave the house. It would leave the house, it would go for body viewing, but it would come back to the house. They even demanded a tamper-proof casket, and they also demanded that he be buried at home. So this belief in the occult and their role, if you believe in God, you know there is evil. It's very simple. If there is good, there is bad. And there are these concerns. Look at what happened in Zimbabwe.
Originally, why we changed was because we wanted a tamper-proof casket. Because people, with rituals and things like that, people really are after his body or his body parts or whatever. So we wanted something that is tamper-proof. So that is why the casket was changed in the first place.
And so you can confirm that right now he's lying in a tamper-proof casket. But getting that tamper-proof casket, obviously, as you're saying, you wanted a tamper-proof casket. Where had you gotten the idea that somebody may want to tamper with his body, somebody may have an interest in any of his body parts? And could this really be the reason why you guys have decided against the mausoleum and not exactly the issue of trying to cut costs?
True, he wants to be, he said so. So, we are trying to follow his wishes.
But just to interject there, you have given me that the bit of the wish, indeed, and we totally agree. But you still haven't told me where the idea that you need a tamper-proof casket, because he didn't say he wanted a tamper-proof casket. The idea of wanting that tamper-proof casket and the fact that they may be interested in tampering with his body, where did that come from specifically?
It came from him, because he said to his wife, to Auntie Grace, that, if and when I'm gone, don't leave my body and be careful, people want to use my body. It was him who said it to the former First Lady. So we knew that, spiritually he probably knows something.
That also speaks to the fact that we also didn't see him being laying at least overnight at one commando, as usually is the case. And that probably is that. Are you confirming that's why also the family kept him at home and didn't leave him at one commando and didn't leave him out of sight, because that's his expressed wishes before he died? Are you?
Yes.
So there were similar concerns in Zimbabwe that people were interested in the body of the late president, and the family took specific actions to ensure that was not done. They got a tamper-proof casket. They insisted that he lay not at a place of heroes, but at the village. So these are not far-fetched. There's now been a campaign, if you've seen on public media and all media, where there are all voices saying put him to rest in Lusaka, in Zambia, bring the body to Zambia. It's very easy. The family has just one major request, very major request. They've just said the president must be absent from the funeral. That's all. That's what they've said. They can bring the body even tomorrow if there are guarantees that the president who will not participate in the process. And they've stated that that was a wish of the late president. You might call it whatever you call it, but that's one of the biggest wishes, and that's what has caused the standoff. The president and his supporters and the negotiators have insisted that his Republican president is one of his duties to perform the role of the funeral of the late his predecessor. He has insisted that those are his duties as president. He has to be present, and the family has said, look, one of the strong issues was that he should be absent from that funeral. That's where the standoff is. It's not about where the body will lie. Where the body will lie is merely because the standoff has not been resolved. I can guarantee you today, if President Hakainde Hichilema said, I will not participate in this funeral, it's a state funeral, I'll delegate my vice president or any other minister, I will not participate, we'll put to rest the late president without any issue. So they've got one key request. You might think it's absurd, you might think they are being superstitious. Whatever your views are, is that the late president, that was his wish. Some are trying to scandalize it. No, he didn't forgive. No, he forgave. He's a Christian. Every day he prayed and forgave all his, but this was just his wish. I played the video of Kaweche where he said the wish of the president was to lay next to Betty. And government flagrantly ignored that wish and bulldozed their way. I think, like John Sang has always stated, that it doesn't make it right or legal because the state ignored the wishes of the late president. But there is an insight which Kaweche revealed there, that although he wanted the late president to lie in, next to Mama Betty, he didn't appeal and he didn't lose that case. He emphasized this was just a judicial review, and the matter wasn't heard in full. It didn't proceed anywhere. There was just an injunction that was stopped. I mean, that was not given, and the judge gave his reasons, but it didn't go to full trial, and it didn't appeal. So that matter has never been fully determined. Your matter of authority has never been determined as confirmed by Kaweche. And again, he says there were other negotiations. Remember, Panji, who's the eldest son, put it on record and said, look, I don't mind what my young brother is doing, but as head of the family at the moment, eldest son, I am giving and granting government authority to put to rest the late president at Embassy Park. Mwanawasa, we did the same, despite his express wishes to lie at his farm. We buried him at Embassy Park. Like John Sangwa states, that that's no authority enough. We are not supposed to ignore the wishes of you do not want anyone's wishes to be ignored. In fact, John Sangwa was called for a new law, a law that allows for all these issues to be provided for. Like we have a cenotaph there opposite Cabinet Office. You've seen it with a big phallic symbol there. It demonstrates that all the people that died in World War I, World War II, there is no single body there, but we remember them. We might have to provide a law that when there's an impasse like this, we just provide a stone, a monument stone, to remember those late presidents, a place to remember them. The body may not necessarily lie there, like our friends have done in Tanzania. That's one of the issues we have to do as a country. The other matters is, for all these voices talking about the president, how he was head of state, how he should be respected, how he should lie in Zambia, sometimes I'm asking, where were you when the president was being harassed? Where were you? Where was your voice?
Saying if people start doing that outside there.
Which people?
People have seen you, sir.
Why don't you go and talk to them to stop that fight? Because they're not allowed to fight. That's your job, to stop them from fighting, not to stop me from seeing my bishop. Your job is to stop lawbreakers or people who are planning to break the law. Not to stop me from enjoying my right to move around freely, or to meet my bishop, or just pay courtesy on him. That's not your job. Your job is to protect me, protect him, so that we can meet freely, talk, and then I go my way.
Yes, sir. When we were coming from Lusaka, you didn't inform us to say that.
Do I have to inform you? Do I have to inform you? No. Do I have to inform you?
Yes. I'm surprised.
Please, Dr. Kimpapo, let's respect our constitution.
Did I have to inform you? Did I have to inform you, sir?
One officer.
Let's respect our constitution.
Zambia. And you know that Zambia is
And this is the church, and we're a Christian nation. And look, the church, or maybe,
you have started the
or maybe we have changed the laws, which in Parliament it doesn't come.
This is a cater school in an office. Does the bishop has the time to the right to invite anybody and then notify you? Do you own this place? I'm asking you, do you own the church?
The reason why you are not even comfortable as you speak to us.
So you want me to be comfortable?
No,
sit down.
listen.
Sit down.
No,
I'm not allowed to sit down.
Let me come to you because everybody remembers that you opposed the burial of Dr. Kaunda at Embassy Park. It eventually did happen. You had made an effort to have the court to review the decision which cabinet had made to bury Dr. Kaunda at the park. It went on anyway. Your case was only looked at after the burial had taken place. So the decision went against what you indicated as being your father's wishes, as it were. What are your thoughts now? Because there's some similarities here. What is your thought now?
What has happened now is that because of that ruling, which, by the way, didn't specify that I'd actually lost, but it ruled in the interest of the country. If we're going to go by the book and by the law, I did not lose that case. But I didn't appeal because I took it that the nation's interest was higher than either my father's interest himself, as his wish was when he was alive, or some members of the family. So we let it go. We could have appealed, but we let it go. And that's why I'm saying that as much as it was our right as a family to say we want our father's body to be taken here or put there to rest as his wish was, we overlooked that in the interest of the nation. People wanted him buried at that site, and I know had he been alive and we talked to him about it, he himself eventually said, all right, let's do it that way. If that's what the people want, then we do it like that. That was the reasoning behind the decision not to appeal what transpired in the courts that time.
Right. That means remember that you didn't attend that. The burial.
No, I didn't.
Procession.
I didn't. That's what I'm saying. You see,
right.
Only 6 of us in this.
Mu Zambia ukusuminisha ba Freemason ukuisa baluwalala nga mwabelenga Encyclopedia Britannica yena yalondolo kwe bati the largest secret society umona satana abombesha ni Freemasonry, a largest kuma secret organizations na utomurutu alikuwa ma Jesuits nga injini yatu kungwetonse nomba secret organization iyakula ibombe fya kupapa iyakwatisha nechuma nokuta initiate abantu direct ama initiates into pure Satanism ni ba Freemason. Nga chakweba ati president you are not a Freemason. Freemason yechechi ngete tuli ba Freemason na ba MP besu muno muzambe tamuli ba Freemason ba member of parliament bada ma Freemason kuisa publicly Muzambia but tan fieri pantu fibanda eliyo ukulanda bali ma Freemason echo mubikire ko nefunde ya cyber security cyber crime eti tutine tulelanda Freemason get out from Zambia fuleni mu Muzambia ba Freemason nga kuli chalo chala tolo mupambani Zambia ukulagula na masukulu ba Freemason bakula ati twapele lisukulu classroom wena abana bakalasambira mwabona bakaba fibanda wisa parwala la ba Freemason here in Zambia in a Christian nation. Freemasonry mwadi besho ba Freemason na kalima mule umfuafe pa Mungu wake ama Freemason nga wafika mu 33 degree ya bu Freemason bale ishibano kushibati uwo bale pepa ni satana fiomune direct communication with the devil ebantu wingaleta mucharo cha Zambia if the blind lead the blind both shall fall into the ditch kubumba kwa ba Jesuit evi mlemuna ukula shenkana panishikile ya chilo chabalungu ilibale shenkana ni shifimo filepita imoma no posele kuchitumbi ba Freemason bale ingila mu Zambia no kubombe milimo yabo Sunday na yoba ilonda tika pange nshila mumfimfi blind leading the blind idili ine pali ichililwechi mwalabu nifyala ingila mu Zambia fingi mwamuleti itadawa ashikwe fyako kwile kusasasa ashiko kusasasa na wishime vyolela ndayo teka nyaikala punch ichichililo chala ingishe fingi mchalo efyo babomba in a country where they are Jesuits it is either they rule or the country must be ruling umabale tungulu na babantu ichalo kuchifulunganye ngapali ichalo fubalefu ayokupota umukoshi ba upotonganye chalo cha Zambia icha ita declare kweba to we are a Christian nation. Ilipusha can a Christian nation allow the Freemasons? That is the question. If so, then it means we are being led by the blind leaders who are leading the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Zambia ngaile turo na ba menso mwali bafena ba shima people apopo twala bimwena bu father wenu ngategwa Satanism. Stand up and blame Freemasonry. Epo twala mwena bu pastor wenu ngategwa kupanda imini neni mulandi okola ati ba Freemason ababa atwala echibele shugwisa Muzambia na parwala tatlefifuaya. We have history pali ba Freemason ngamrefu amubalete mutwega ati cyber security takuli kunkaka fetu kubala tu yakukoti twabelenge efyalimba pali ba Freemason elionga na shinginwa. I am ready to be sent to jail elionga twaba shinginga mufyalembwa bonse ba Freemason mwalaka kwa no misuminishe muno Muzambia okuleta bu satanic mwalaka kwa elio pantu nabali mufufurwa bengi bala pokeshinda la mashaba Freemason eba kwa tenda la mababantu na imonga bani favor twalai kwa rombe miuru itente mkene chikotu kwambila fye kuli ba supreme ama judges kotu uko kwapu ba minister chikoti kateke chikoti ba shuma beprefi koti mwala mwenechana tika Muzabe kwena mwangasha lesa. Zambia is a Christian nation. Imwe if the blind leads the blind both shall fall into the ditch. Kwena tule umfoluse no bula ndoko muno kwe chalo cha Zambia chile yanga pali chalo cha satana alete yanga bola chalo cha Zambia mwalimu mapopeno mwalimu na filia tuwale tamba bola kene ndi mwene ale umabero ale repa kwa tale umino kwa tinkwa ero kabola kayo ku kipa uliade kamuna alifu kuya kikata nomba nafiro kufika po evera Zambia bale muteya uyo uko kuchino cha balungu ashiko kusasa yo balete kuno kaishi okuninshi ka penalty kale ingila ama Freemason bale bomba
nomba iringiri ne it's lack of wisdom no kuitemwa pantu bakainde chirema pada baikara pa community house tepo badingiri okuikala twaliranda twalinaka bakainde chirema balikani na fyendi bakola na parulimi nomba imwecho mwala patikisha edika cha gwalungu webati webo so senda byapa chinshi echo mwala apatikisha Edgar Chagwa Lungu kweba timpaka fe mwise mudode shina mchala chinshi. You know, alalimo fwebe na Zambia tuirasende fintu mumusamwe. Ero tuwasale nchi tungurushi ala tuwalikwa to mulimo na umbi ukalamba. Kwambo kulaso peshi ntungurushi kula monefe bale chita bushe bale chitefia mano nangu bale chitefia kula mano baka inde chile mabo byonse ni mumoso tunya rodi wi baba twala uruchero bafuma balanchi baya ichungulo bafuma just like that twarirufishamo na abantu imyewo mumuse bomu mabunka kapokoro ya ile fuirapo because baka inde chile basala po kupitana bakunganda kumwabo bashenga nde ya chalo wonse 6 bakateka baikire munga nde ya chalo bena bakana nomba imwecho mwala patikisha Edgar Lungu mwawera mwafika at the point of kutufulo uchindami mwafukamina South Africa ala tatu akawada tuchinda mapo kubenso ya bena South Africa ala na mugu chushi wesu mkutola isha tuwali abachindama nombe chumwa chita mwafure chalo cha Zambia kuchindami South Africa fiero budi abushiku otu aya chindamika alabane ifintu fimo mulebala mwatu tubala mwekala kotondolo mwatontonganya mwapisha kwe fintu fimo muli camping ukweba tibushiku ene chinga tuwachita chalalo la mwisa nombanga mwaluso mulando ero chibeshane ero chivipishe apapene napema nembula mano shimo ishambiri okulanda ati abale chitefe bali kwate milandu kuno nomba how is it connected kubulirwa mano ine nalilando kubati administration ubwafe yakwata bateke chalo nechintinia bateke chalo nokuzimya abantu yo kachimona yo wala chimona ompa kanofenga ne yusi tabateke chalo efyo chalo chesu chiberere so stressed up abantu badi ba stressed abantu badi amba nokukota because of the stress mumule tupisha 24 years alemneka kwati ninevo stress.
Thank you very much. I was playing all those videos deliberately to inform you. What is happening is there's no legal movement by the state. The Attorney General hasn't returned to court, and there's no negotiating team that has approached the family yet. Yet a lot of things happening undercurrent, where there are threats to steal the body, there are threats, to tamper with the body. And I think the request should simply be that probably the South African security must beef up security where the remains of the late president lie. Maybe they want the family to panic and begin to move the body around. Well, the operatives watching you make a mistake and something will happen. It's just best that we trust the South African authorities currently where you are to secure the body. There are a lot of psychological things happening. You've seen ZMBC is inundated with a single call, bring the body back. No one is talking about the impasse. No one is talking about the issue the family has requested, that the president stays away from this funeral. No one is talking about that. They just want to portray them as unpatriotic. They've even opened a new YouTube page, apparently spoken by a white gentleman calling himself Muzungu wa Zambia, but he introduces himself as Akainde. And there's a lot of dirty stuff going on that YouTube channel, but clearly people have seen it for what it is. It's propaganda by the state to attempt to scandalize the late president. You can see the propaganda is very amateurish, and they've put this AI white figure at Muzungu wa Zambia and just churning out debt and the usual things we've condemned on this program. Making the environment hostile. You want a president, you want a family to bring the body back, but why are you insulting them? Why are you using your surrogates to insult the president? One of the key figures today, I was watching him, Simon Mwewa, rushing to where the president was in Kabwe, because he's one of the major bloggers. But see what he says about the late president. and his family. He's been a negative campaigner during this entire process. Is what we call, campaign B. Those things that can't be said in campaign A are said in campaign B. The debt and the propaganda causeway is in campaign B. You use and you spoil the environment, yet you want an amicable settlement. I guess the president has this hypocritical posture. He wants to present himself as a statesman. On the other, he unleashes a debt on his political opponents. Let's go to the next topic before I open the lines. It's Monday, the 30th June, a wonderful day. Tomorrow we start a new day, 1st July, and a new month, brings new promises and new hope, and we'll have ended the first half of the year officially tomorrow and started the next half. It's the best way to review in your personal life. What have you done the last 6 months? What will you do the next 6 months? What were your New Year's goals? And where are you with your New Year's goals? Are you going to achieve them? And for the nation, it's a moment of reflection. And Musokotwane has reflected on the nation. He has brought a huge bill to Parliament, 33 billion kwacha, $1.3.5 billion. He wants supplementary budget, and is blaming it on the PF as usual. There have been 4 years. He had the budget in 2021. He had another budget in 2022. He had another budget on 2023. He had another budget on 2024. Now we are in the 25th, in the 5th national budget that he has presented, although he will be 4 years in office. The budget that they are presenting in September is the last budget. And in my view, there's nothing he can change. So he came to Parliament and is blaming the PF that they left the debt that I need to clear. Why didn't you clear the debt in the first year, in the second year, in the third year? What happened to your successful debt reschedule program? What happened to it? And people ask, constantly have said it was careless for government to embark on a debt reschedule, debt restructure with foreign debt and abandon the local debt. The local debt is what is actually very important because that's what drives your economy. If contractors, suppliers, and consultants are owed money in your own economy, and they're owed money to the extent of $10-12 billion, it's a lot of money. You ought to clear that debt. That's what runs an economy. You cannot have GDP growth if there is no money in the economy. You cannot. And that's why everyone is doubting, at the height of and the worst of our country in 2024, we had the worst cost of living crisis. We had the worst load shedding that saw small and medium enterprises, small and medium enterprises literally closed and choked. We had the worst drought in 100 years. Musokotwane tells us that we posted the 6% growth rate, and it's being even peddled by Bloomberg, a respected commodity trader, media outlet. Those numbers are clearly bogus. If the economy had come to a standstill, where did your 6% come from? They are massaging the statistics. That's what it is. They are massaging the statistics because there's no corresponding life in the life of our country. We are not seeing. We are still facing with the worst cost of living crisis. Today, many praise singers kept on sending me the ERB report that was released today that shows that the price of fuel has dropped for diesel to 23 kwacha, and for petrol, is it 26 kwacha for petrol? Let's see what the price of petrol is. So I said, no, I've seen it. Yeah, petrol 28 kwacha and diesel at 23 kwacha, 13 ingwe. They are very excited. We hope that this can be sustainable. Like we said about the exchange rate, when it plummeted at a short rate from 28 kwacha to 24 kwacha, I think the intention was to ensure that the local suppliers import fuel during that period that the rate was lower, so that it can then affect the price of fuel, then affect the price of commodities. Those are temporal solutions. They're very temporary. They're what made the Kwacha appreciate? Tell me. Did we export more? Did we earn more forex? Did the mines pay more? President Hakainde Hichilema gave a figure of $70 million, a paltry figure to obtain from the mining sector, compared to what was being obtained in 2019 when we made the mineral royalty non-deductible. We were earning $1 billion every year, 2019, 2020, and we had the record earnings from the mining sector in 2021 and 2022 because of just that single policy of mineral royalty non-deductible. President Hakainde Hichilema, was watching him when he was in Chisamba. He was saying when he was commissioning the solar plant, 100 megawatts, supported by China, it was constructed by China Power. They are very murky on the source of funding and who has put together the financing structure of this 100 megawatts. We don't know where ZESCO has borrowed from. I wish they could disclose more so that we can offer proper assessment. We just don't want to criticize, but we want to offer proper assessment and to see if they are being sincere. He said he has brought on board Kalengwa mine, that Mopani will begin to work, that KCM will begin to work, then the investment that First Quantum is doing well. Our questions still don't go away. What you've done to Mopani copper mine, we still have answers. He said he was calling it a dead mine. A dead mine. A mine that received $4.5 billion. He says it's a dead mine. $4.5 billion investment between 2015 and 2020. It's one of the newest mine in the world because Yakushtafe Karanki Yambo Kudila. That Mopani mine is giving it away to our non-entities, non-miners, people we don't know. They claim they are affiliated to a sovereign fund of United Arab Emirates. We don't know. This company was formed in 2022. It could even be theirs. It could be theirs. And as soon as Mopani is sold, what do? They give Jubilee Metals, where my dear brother Munahan Tuba is board chair from South Africa. Mopani is immediately sold. They give Jubilee Metals, that Black Mountain in Mufulira. And it's worth millions and millions of dollars. You just put a modular plant and you begin to process. They give Jubilee Metals the Black Mountain in Luanshya. So you can clearly see that, in fact, Mopani may begin to work if we trace the woven links of who owns Jubilee Metals, who owns Mopani. You will be surprised that there is no investment that will come to the country. The money may come from the Black Mountain that Jubilee Metals has gotten and then make Mopani operate, because Mopani is a brand new mine. The First Quantum, we praises that they are the largest taxpayer. Again, we have concerns. He says they were in court 11 years because Mopani doesn't want to pay. First Quantum Minerals doesn't want to pay the $2.5 billion they owe Kansanshi. In effect, they owe our country. You can't just ignore that, abandon the court process, and you don't provide a pathway in which our country will recover that $2.5 billion. And then you just say First Quantum is the largest taxpayer. He is the largest taxpayer. Chabakot Pachala, Ngawaya Tola Puechin to Pachala is the best among the worst. Mining houses are not paying appropriate just taxes. If First Quantum is paying some good taxes, it doesn't make it ideal. Remember, we are losing up to $3 billion a year, in illicit financial flows, in tax dodging mechanisms, in incentives that are given to the mining sector. So we do not be fooled when they say First Quantum is the largest taxpayer. Yes, Pachala, it's not the best, but we want you to go to the best and pick the best among the best. What's happening in the mining sector is not something to be proud of. The mining houses are not paying. The mine houses are not paying the adequate and just taxes to our country. You had KCM that never paid for 20 years. You give them back the mine. And what do? They do a brochure about Konkola dip. And they said it has copper reserves worth $200 billion. And they brought that brochure here in New York, where they want to borrow from the markets. Here in New York, $1.5 billion. Vedanta is going to borrow that money. Here in New York Stock Exchange, using Konkola Deep, the mine you said is not productive. Why didn't you let ZCCM do that? And are you sure Vedanta, when they get that $1.5 billion, that it will come to our country? We saw how Vedanta, when they were running KCM, they got $700 million from Standard Chartered Bank in South Africa. You can't even trace where that money was put. They were similar. They were not paying debts. And in the deal they have done over KCM, Sishua called it, Dr. Sishua called it, the worst scandal that has happened to our country. You know why? Because Vedanta, through KCM, owes, left a debt by 2019, $1.5 billion and rising to local institutions. They owe ZESCO, is it $800 million? Imagine if you gave ZESCO $800 million. Imagine if you gave ZESCO $800 million. But President Hakainde Hichilema poka buswe. Now bafisa your information they are not giving us. They owe ZRA, is that the $400 million that Vedanta owes? They owe NAPSA. Then they owe suppliers, contractors and suppliers, a lot of money. And our question has been, how will Vedanta pay this? You are quick to just give them the mine. But how will they clear these huge sums that they owe our local entities? That's where our economy lies. Instead of Musokotwane parking and camping in Washington, now massaging figures with Bloomberg, instead of doing that, there's a lot of domestic resources that can be obtained for our country. First Quantum, the so-called largest taxpayer. What about our $2.5 billion? Okay, President, you have discontinued an 11-year-old case. It was worth it because at the stake of it is $2.5 billion. Mr. President, First Quantum, that's what we want to know. Maybe the old man, Musokotwane, who stopped bringing these ridiculous bills to Parliament, what did he do with $5.3 billion? He wants another $1.3 billion and is blaming the PF. 4 years on, you are still blaming the PF? Are you serious? We have those two topics, Musokotwane's presentation of the $1.3 billion supplementary budget that he wants from parliamentary approval, and the update that we've given you on the late president. The family is very clear. They've said the remains of the late president will lie in Zambia, now or one day or someday. They're very clear. One of the biggest conditions is that President Hakainde Hichilema must stay away from the funeral. Nishtale Fwaila to step out for the nation to mourn the late president and then put the late president to rest. Why isn't he abiding by that condition? It's not the family which is a problem, it's the president. He had a rancorous, very, very frictious relationship with the late president. And if it's one of the wishes of the late president, he should abide by it. The cases we are using of Kaunda, they are totally unrelated. For Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, they had stripped him of all his benefits from medical insurance, medical travel for medicals, for holiday, and things like the house that he's supposed to get security. Everything was stripped from him. He died, he went as a private citizen, he died as a private citizen. And to allege that these have been reinstated, we're just ashamed as a country that we treated our late president, the only surviving president, in that manner. He should have been treated better. Musokotwane is back with his borrowing spree. He wants to borrow $1.5 billion from the IMF. It's on the table. That's why you've seen these engineered reports from their lab that is based at Ministry of Finance. All of a sudden, Zambia is a glowing economy, 6% economic growth. at foreign reserves, at the largest foreign reserves in 10 years. At what is the inflation rate is coming down to 13%. There will be some shake-up. There will be some good things that will occur. Look at the artificial exchange rate. We called it artificial, and within a week it's losing value. It was the fastest appreciating currency in the world, and again it's become the worst depreciating currency just within 1 week, because it was at almost coming to 22. Today it's at 24. The market exchange rate remain volatile. Musokotwane will not collect what is due for our country. President Hakainde Hichilema has not allowed proper miners to mine, to get as critical shareholders Mopani. First Quantum, they even displaced ZCCMIH. They removed them as shareholders. We've lost shareholder rights, shareholder dividends, and shareholder value, especially if we have to determine the path of Kansanshi mine. Is Kansanshi gold and copper mine. They've chucked us out. They've given us some 3.1% over gross revenue per year. Again, because we have record that they manipulate the figures, the figure they will give you as gross revenue will be highly understated, that by the time they're giving you that 3.1% is totally nothing. Let me see if my line is open, and I want you to join in the debate for those two subjects, the economic subject and the issue of the late president. The line is open, please participate.
Yapamlemona Muzambia ukusuminisha ba Freemason ukuisa palualala nga mwabelenga Encyclopedia Britannica yena yalondolo kwebati the largest secret society umona satana abombesha ni Freemasonry, a largest kuma secret organizations. Na ushomuru alikuwa Jesuits nga engine yatu kungwetonse nomba secret organization iyakula ibombefi yakupapa iyakwatisha nechuma nokuta initiate abantu direct ama initiate into pure satanism niba Freemason. Nga chakwe bati president you are not a Freemason. Freemason yechichi ngete tuli ba Freemason na ba MP besu muno Muzambia tamuli ba Freemason ba member of parliament bada ma Freemason kuisa public li Muzambia but can fiel pantu fibanda eliyo ukulanda bali ma Freemason eche mubikire kone funde ya cyber security cyber crime eti tutine tulelanda Freemason get out from Zambia fuleni mu Muzambia ba Freemason nga kuli chalo chala tolo mupamba ni Zambia ukula na maskulu ba Freemason bakula ati twapele li skulu classroom wi wena bana bakala Zambia mwabona bakaba fibanda wisa parwala la ba Freemason here in Zambia in a Christian nation. Freemasonry mwadi beshu ba Freemason na kalima mle umfuafe pa Mungu wake ama Freemason nga wafika mu 33 degree ya bu Freemason bale ishibano kushibati uo bale pepa ni satana fiomuni direct communication with the devil. Ebantu wingaleta mucharo cha Zambia, if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Kubumba kwa ba Jesuit mule muna ukula shenkana pamishikile ya chilo chaba lungu ilibale shenkana ni shifimo file pita imwamba no posele kuchitumbi ba Freemason bale ingila Muzambia no kubombe milimo yabo Sunday na yoba ilonda tika pange nshila mumfimfi blind leading the blind idini ine pali ichililwechi mwala bwefya ingila Muzambia fingi mwamuleti itanawa ashikwe fyako kwile kusasa ashiko kusasa na wishmefyo lela ndayo teka nyaikala punch ichichililo chala ingishe fingi mchalo efyo bagomba in a country where there are Jesuits it is either they rule or the country must be ruling. Umabale tungulu na babantu ichalo kuchifulunganye nga pali ichalo fubalefu ayokupota umukoshiba upotonganye chalo cha Zambia icha ita declare kwebatu we are a Christian nation. Ilipusha, can a Christian nation allow the Freemasons? That is the question. If so, then it means we are being led by the blind leaders who are leading the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Zambia nga ile turo n'aba menso mwali bafena bashima pepo apoko twala bimwena bufadha bwenu ngategwa satanism. Stand up and blame Freemason. Epo twala mwena bupasta bwenu ngategwa kupanda imini neni mulandi okola ati ba Freemason ababa atwala ekibele shugwisa muzambe na palwala tatlefifuaya. We have history pali ba Freemason ngabrefu amubalete mutwega ati ni cyber security takuli kunkaka first kubula twa kukoti twabelenge efyalimba pali ba Freemason elionga na shinino. I am ready to be sent to jail. Elionga twaba shinina mufyalembwa bonse ba Freemason mwalaka kwa no misuminishe muno muzambi okuleta busatanic mwalaka kwa elio pantu nabali mufufuruwa bengi bala pokeshinda na mashaba Freemason.
I just want to share that I just lost my daughter this morning.
Thank you.
I lost my daughter this morning at 2 in the morning. For the past 1 week, I have had discussions with the people here at the force headquarters about the fact that I have a predicament. I have a daughter who is dying. They asked me for documentation to prove that the young lady was coming back from India, or the information from the doctor.
Okay, the calls are calling in. The calls are coming in. Let's pick the calls. Please speak loud. Tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yeah, I'm anonymous as of now.
Okay, yes, anonymous. Make your contributions. Hello, please make your contribution. Uh-oh, have we lost anonymous? The network. Okay, I'll cut the line. Please call back. Please call back. Please call back. Today we are discussing the state of the economy. The Minister of Finance has requested for a $1.3 billion supplementary budget. We don't know what he did with the $5.3 billion that he got earlier in the year. And we were doing an update on the late president standoff. Nothing much has happened, but there's psychological warfare underplay where ZMBC will be an echo chamber calling for the remains of the late president to be brought to back. But they will not discuss the condition that has allowed this standoff to be there. That's what we are discussing today. So please call. The line is now open. I didn't realize my phone was off.
That she had a terminal illness, including the fact that there was a statement that she was dying. But they still insisted that I had to come to the police station, whatever this place is called. So I came as a mourning mother to come for interrogation. And I was ready to be interrogated, and whatever they decided they want to do, I told them to go ahead and do it. But my lawyer decided that I shouldn't go ahead and do it. But I was ready because I don't know what's happening to this country. And this is exactly my position. There is no love in this country. There's no empathy in this country. There's no anything where, you know, when your friends have a bereavement, it makes sense to other people. So I'm here as a grieving mother, and I availed myself for the interrogation or whatever it was decided had to be done to me, and I will be available, but I have to mourn, and the mourning doesn't take 1 week or 1 day or whatever. So that's it. I came today Now I'll be available when I finish mourning.
Originally, why we changed was because we wanted a tamper-proof casket. Because people, you know, with rituals and things like that, people really are after his body or his body parts or whatever. So we wanted something that is tamper-proof. So that is why the casket was changed in the first place.
And so you can confirm that right now he's lying in a tamper-proof casket. But getting that tamper-proof casket, obviously, as you're saying, you wanted a tamper-proof casket. Where had you gotten the idea that somebody may want to tamper with his body, somebody may have an interest in any of his body parts? And could this really be the reason why you guys have decided against the mausoleum and not exactly the issue of trying to cut costs?
True, he wants to be, you said so. So, you know, we are trying to follow his wishes.
But just to interject there, you have given me that the bit of the wish, indeed, and we totally agree. But you still haven't told me where the idea that you need a tamper-proof casket, because he didn't say he wanted a tamper-proof casket. The idea of wanting that tamper-proof casket and the fact that they may be interested in tampering with his body, where did that come from specifically?
It came from him because he said to his wife, to Auntie Grace, that, you know, if and when I'm gone, don't leave my body and be careful, people want to use my body. It was him who said it to the former first lady. So we knew that, you know, spiritually he probably knows something.
That also speaks to the fact that we also didn't see him being laying at least overnight.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and what subject you'd like to contribute to.
This is anonymous. I would like to contribute on the subject of economy.
Okay, please make your contributions.
To begin with, our economy is not doing very fine. Basically because we are saying so because of the policies that the government has come up, which are not consistent and which are not based on a long term. As we are aware, we can see that we have got a deferred debt. There is a debt that the government of Zambia has deferred through the debt restructuring. And this simply means that we have pushed the debt to the future. And what are we doing now? We are also borrowing again to increase the same debt. So we cannot say we have the supplemental budget because of the previous debt. Because the previous debts were restructured, meaning they were not effective as currently. So the government pronouncements, especially from the Minister of Finance, to say that we are borrowing or we have got a supplemental budget because of the previous government debts. It's a total lie, and it's a lesser confidence in the national economy.
Thank you, my brother.
Economy, the confidence at the global system and its pronouncements. So basically on the debt side, we are not doing fine, and also the disposable income per person is not there in the nation. If you look at everyone in Zambia, especially the lower income end and the lower businesses, small businesses, SMEs, which are the largest, where the economy of Zambia is dependent on, they don't have money. They literally don't have money. There is no activity
Oh, Anonymous, thank you very much. Your phone is beginning to crack. Your phone is beginning to crack. Yeah, please call. Please call. The line is open. This is your channel. This is we love to get views unfiltered. We want to hear from you. We're discussing these two critical issues, an update on the remains of the late president and the state of the economy. Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I won't say my name, but I'm in Tokyo right now, in East Asia, Japan.
Oh, in Japan. Wonderful. Make your contribution, my brother.
Yes. This government is a government of Takataka no Baba Mwamba. Ushe tabale kondema ukukongola no mbecho isikala mbecho bale kongwero uyu musango kanshi bale tubika mwafya chinshi mulondolo eleko limbi na kabili mulondolo le. Why are they getting debt every now and then? And what are they doing with the money? Where are they taking the money? Because there is no way every time this minister is in parliament, always asking for approval for debt. They have accumulated debt and they keep accumulating it. Where are they taking the money? At least the PF, we could see they could build houses, hospitals, roads. At least we could see. But for them, what have they so far done with the money that they keep borrowing? So I think this is a government of Dandais and Butakataka. And it's very sad. Also, the issue of what to play na to anatamba na ku Facebook na to chinchi. My professor. Now, it's a government which has no remorse. This is very sad. Not quite a call to say we are one brother, one sister, we're a country, but we can't feel for each other. This is very unfortunate. This is not the Zambia really we longed for or we wanted. But thank you very much, my big brother.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the UPND have a habit of saying, how much did you find millimil price of fuel in 2011? How much was the debt in 2011 and where did you drive it to? For starters, the PF found a debt of $3.8 billion. Again, we must be very clear, left by Stumbeko Msokotwane. We must be very clear. Because if you trace the economic history of our country, by 2008, our debt is only lying at $500 million because the bilateral and multilateral institutions, the Paris Club and, the bilateral institutions have written off a debt of $7 billion from our books. This was after a campaign raised by the Catholic, the Jubilee, campaign that IMF and World Bank joined in and came up with a HIPIC debt relief program where Zambia, which was highly indebted but poor, benefited from this write-off. So as of 2008, we only had $500 million, and this was literal private loans, also sovereign debt, multilateral debt was written off. President Mwanawasa died, Rupia Banda became president, Musokotwane became Minister of Finance. The first thing he did was to cancel the windfall tax that had brought government income of over $500 million in 2008. He immediately cancelled it. He said it's not good for the mining sector. And he began to rely on borrowing. By the time he was leaving office in 2011, he left a debt of $3.8 billion. When the PF left office in 2021, they left a debt of $11.9 billion. The difference, you will see that the PF borrowed $7.1 billion. But for the PF, you can see They built power stations. They finished Kariba North Bank. They built Kafue Gorge Lower. They built Iteji and the small hydros, Lunzua, Kasama, Lusiwashi and all these, Musonda Falls. They built schools, they built colleges, they built universities. They built 650 health centers. They built 99 mini hospitals. They built 65 district hospitals. They built, 27 nursing colleges. They built a new university, a university teaching hospital. They built new medical training schools for the first time. We only had Ridgeway campus. Another one was built at Levi Mwanawasa and on the Copper Belt at Ndola Teaching Hospital. You can see they built hospitals. Then they built dams. Then they did roads, bridges. So now $7.1 billion. At least you can point where it went. Musokotwane Poishram 2021 Mukalambawandi, Mupongo Shwandi, Kibu Makwenyani has borrowed $3.5 billion. $3.5 billion. And another pile-up of local debt in billions. What have they done with the money? What have they done with the money? Today he was in Parliament asking for $1.3 billion supplementary fund to the area national budget that Parliament appropriated for him. $5.3 billion. He wants more money. What has he done with this? They said they're repairing the economy. Where is the repair? We want to see. Because the cost of living crisis must be resolved. The economic crisis must be resolved. Jobs should be seen, not recruitment. By Tomokolan that over time he has recruited 100,000, 40,000 teachers and 11,000 workers and 3,000 agriculture officers, and they say no, that recruitment is actually dangerous for the country, because IMF is saying you are spending up to 52% of your domestic revenue, your budget, you are spending it on paying these 300,000 civil servants. When will you attend to the rest of the 20 million people? Because half the budget is going to paying salaries for civil servants. Now, we have a couple 100,000. We don't know how far it has gone. Then the question arises, when you service debt, when you put 20% running government, you are clearly in deficit. Before you start any single project, Mwinjebe fia CDF, because CDF is very little money, very, very little money in developmental needs. You can't even do one road. Let's calculate. CDF nishingabane. Waibika yadi pa 1.6. Number yadi kwela to, is it 30 million or 36 million? Whatever it is by 156 constituents. This is very, very little money. Very, very little money. It can't do what the state is expected to build: hospitals, roads, bridges, dams. You cannot develop with CDF. It's very little money. And remember, we have criticized it of how it is structured. Oh, sorry. Please call. Sometimes my question gets taken and I forget to check on the phone. So you can call and participate in the discussion. Another person has written that, Ambassador, are you aware that Robert Chavinga is in South Africa? He's with the lawyers from Zambia, from the Attorney General's chambers with the South African. I think they want to put up a posture that Robert Chavinga is representing the PF, and the PF's wishes are that President Lungu must lie in Zambia. Yeah, this is what we are talking about. They've taken the fraud internationally. Why would you even present Robert Chavinga to the family of Edgar Lungu or to the case of Edgar Lungu? Imagine the emotions they are inflaming just by bringing Robert Chavinga near to where Edgar Lungu is. But this is the insensitivity of this government. It's not determined to resolve any matter. It's determined to win political contest. when achila wishku ni political contest, everything is treated as a fight, who wins in the public's view. Sometimes it's important that we do the correct things, not necessarily to please the public, sometimes to deal with the correct thing. Tomorrow we have a huge debate. John Sangwa is back here. We will host him in collaboration with our colleagues in one of the media institutions, and John Sangwa is going to answer all these issues around the Constitution, and so stay tuned for tomorrow. Yeah, you can call and participate. So Sokotwane is not giving hope. Yes, we are glad that the price of fuel has come down, but it's not sustainable. If you are using Indeni as an OMC, you don't have a final solution. If you are not using the pipeline for crude oil, which then refines and you get more products, you're just using it for finished products, it's difficult to get the benefits. If the exchange rate is appreciating without the backbone of economic activities, that exchange rate will plummet to its original part. In fact, speculation breeds in. That's why as soon as they realize that money had run out of the market, the exchange rate has jumped already to 24 from almost 22 kwacha. Why? Speculation sets in. Until the exchange rate appreciates, because you have invested in exports and export proceeds are coming back to our country, then strengthening our currency, then you will say the exchange rate market is stable. It can be stable just by dumping foreign exchange on the market. Foreign exchange which you don't have for a long time. So that appreciation of the exchange rate is dubious.
Nomba iringiri ne is lack of wisdom. No kuitemwa. Pantu baka inde chilema pada baikara pa community house. Tepo badingiri okuikara. Tualiranda tualina ka. Baka inde chilema bali kanini na fiendi bakora na parulimi. Nomba imocho mwala patikisha edika chakwa lungu. Webati wewe so senda ni hapa chinshi. Echo mwala patikisha edika chakwa lungu. Webati mpaka femwise mdote shena mchala. Chinshi. You know, alalimo fwebe na Zambia. Tuirasende fintu mumusamwe. Ero tuwasale nchi tungurushi. Ala tuwalikwa tomulimo na umbi ukalamba. Kwambo kulaso peshi ntungurushi. Kula monefyo bale chita. Pushe bale chitefia mano nangu. Bale chitefia kula mano. Baka inde chile mabu. Vionse ni mumoso tunia rodi. Wii baba tuwala. Uruchelo bafuma. Balanchi baya. Ichungulo bafuma. Just like that. Tuwarirufishamo na abantu imyewo mumuse bomu. Mabunka. Kapokoro ya ile fuila po. Because baka inde chile basala po kupitana. Bakunganda kumwabo. Bashenga nde ya chalo. Wonse 6 bakateka. Baikile munga nde ya chalo. Wena bakana. Nomba imwecho mwala patikisha edika lungu. Mwawela mwafikana at the point of ukutufulo uchindami. Mwakamina South Africa. Ala tatu wakawadi atuchinda mapo kubenso ya bina South Africa. Ala na mugu chushi wesu mkutola isha tuwali haba chindama. Nombe chumwa chita mwafule chalo cha Zambia kuchindami. South Africa fiero budi abushiku. Otu haya chindamika. Ala bane ifintu fimo mule bala mwatu tubala. Mwekala kotondolo mwatontonganya. Mwapisha kwe fintu fimo muli camping ukwe batubishe kwene chinga tuwachita chalalo la mwisa. Nombanga mwaluso mulando. Ero chibeshane. Ero chivipishe papene na pema nembula mano shimo. Ishambiri okulanda ati awabale chitefyo bali kwa temila ndukuno. Nomba, how is it connected? Kubulirwa mano. Kubulirwa mano. Inena alilando kwa bati ya administration ubuafya ya kwata. Bateke chalo ne chintinia. Bateke chalo no kuzimia abantu. Yo kachimona, yo wala chimona. Ompa kanofenga ne yusi tabateeka ekyalo efyo yo efyo ekyalo kyesu kiberere so stressed up abantu baali ba stressed abantu baali amba n'okukota because of the stress mumuletupisha 24 years ale muneka kwati ninevo stress vaakaine ekirema kibukeni abo abantu mwachetekera okwe bati they advising you well ambeni kubachenchenta bwino babemini apasoma iyo alo obuchinda mibwena nafuula twakabera tuchinda mapa.
My dear brother, Mr. Mwamba from Italy, make your contributions.
Ambassador, I wanted to just ask if how you are doing. Zambia, I think we could. I thought quite a few our late former head of state.
Mkwai.
But I think in the channel chant. I think in the video fibidi.
Mkwai, chimbicho chironi chisa.
And they didn't go channel chant.
Oh.
There are a lot of things that I never ever thought Zambia would go through or experience, to the world. That's why these days, Charlotte Makonata need to come down to what kind of passion you have in the name of decency. I don't know how to say it on the ground. Guys, now from that na few well na iwela ko ina shishi because or nga tule shishi myoto ka watafa filling station muno mulusaka watoping ko pa no 200 or 50 or 250 or 500 karaka kashinga file bumbashani naka gauge karaka few takale imana sana hello feeling katuishine mondi nida ambassador ishintu tafili wino kuno
tafili wino ka
tafili mfika wino it's like na spiritual world we've done something wrong as a country and I'm critical
yeah
so katishina feningala na mondi katushinga to aweke na mofe maybe kwa mchinja kama citizenship mwe
Yo, madam, we don't give up. Don't give up on our country. Don't give up.
Necessary evil. I knew that Zambia needs this necessary evil, but not yamba no embarrassment. Yamba no kulafika kuchalo. Ambassador. Mawe. The lot of diversity to make pushing for ambassador because I have a lot of things to say, but they are not nice things, and I wouldn't say it here.
Yo chachineta tukere wino.
Ambassador and family and never persecuted. Family members of the previous regime. I hope God sees you through.
Mkwai. No, thank you, Amabo.
Ambassador, church no pledge tasu ama widows nensha wako.
Haona kadi mipamba fesheka sheka.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was Mr. Mwamba. He's still in Zambia. And he's wondering where the country is going. He's wondering both physically and spiritually where the country is going, where we can drag, a widow from a grieving mattress and take her to court. Totally unheard of. So these are things that are shocking all of us. Yeah, I'm waiting for your calls. Let's participate. You can pick the topic of the economy, or you can pick the topic, my comments on the update regarding the late president's funeral. It could be up to you to consider. But the lines are open. Let's hear from you. Let's hear your views. There hasn't been an update at the courts of law. The Attorney General has not moved into make a fresh, what we call, that motion now to support his earlier application. He hasn't done that. And we are anticipating that maybe there will be a delegation from the state to discuss with the family. So far, there is nothing. Then our dear brother Kima Kwenyani Womsokotwane presented a budget in Parliament amounting to $1.3 billion. He wants that granted to him. He says he wants to pay debts from the PF. I don't know why in the 4th year, that's when he's paying those debts. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing the issue of the Constitution with John Sangwa. Make a date and be here early. Be here early. We'll be discussing the issue of...
If people start doing that outside there...
Which people?
People have seen you, sir.
Why don't you go and talk to them to stop that fight? Because they're not allowed to fight. That's your job, to stop them from fighting, not to stop me from seeing my bishop. Your job is to stop lawbreakers or people who are planning to break the law, not to stop me from enjoying my right to move around freely or to meet my bishop or just pay courtesy call on him. That's not your job. Your job is to protect me, protect him, so that we can meet freely, talk, and then I go my way.
Yes, sir. When you were coming from Lusaka, you didn't inform us to say that.
Do I have to inform you? Do I have to inform you? No. Do I have to inform you?
Yes. I'm surprised.
Also, please note that let's respect our constitution.
Do I have to inform you? Do I have to inform you, sir?
One officer.
Let's respect our constitution.
Zambia. And you know that Zambia is...
And this is the church, and we're a Christian nation. And the church, or maybe,
you have started the
or maybe we have changed the laws which in Parliament it doesn't come.
This is a cater school in an office. Does the bishop has the time to the right to invite anybody and then notify you? Do you own this place? I'm asking you, do you own the church?
The reason why you are not even comfortable as you speak to us.
So you want me to be comfortable?
No,
sit down.
Listen.
Sit down.
No,
I'm not allowed to sit down.
Thank you very much for that. Let me just, I'm looking for this. For those that are calling, I'll pick up the calls just now. Yeah, let's come back to... Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Uh-oh, we've lost that caller again. I don't know what's happening to calls from Zambia. Is there a problem? You can tell us in the comments below if there's a problem in Zambia. But the network should be okay. A few people have come through. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Oh my God. Your line are just cutting, but keep on trying. Keep on trying.
Not shut media houses. The truth is that old habits die hard. There are some members of our society that still have that lingering understanding that they can walk into a radio station and intimidate journalists. The law will catch up with them. The law will catch up.
Please tell us
slowly,
where you're calling us
this
from.
thing will die out. Because it's not an event. It's a process. It's teaching people
Okay, Roy,
how
just
to
hold
behave.
on. Now I'm playing a video of the president.
Because
You
they
go on.
behaved like that for 10 years. It became normal. So I just want to say to you, this government understands the importance of having the media, a serious professional media, genuine media. I know the flip side of not having a good media. I know that. Sometimes my wife used to ask me when I go home, do you mutate in the night and become a different animal? How come you are being called all these names in the media? I was a Mason, and someone even wrote a story, a government permanent secretary wrote a story and said, I know the Mason temple that HH goes to. He's a Mason, a Freemason. Really? And it was carried, the media institutions carried it. Total falsehood. Someone says, no, he's a Satanist. Have you seen the color of his party? Red means the blood, they're killing people. And someone became a politician years later and adopted the same red color as their party's color. Now, this is the environment we had. Colleagues, honestly speaking, I'm very privileged to be here today.
My brother, tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay. Good evening once again.
Good evening.
My name's Roy Chamatsulo.
Yes, Roy Solo.
From Lusaka.
Wonderful.
I'm calling from Lusaka.
Thank you.
Emmanuel Mwamba. First and foremost, I'd like to say that God loves you, and God has got a purpose for your life.
Oh,
okay?
We thank God.
And,
we thank God.
Just put your trust in the Lord. Yeah. One thing I'll tell you about our country. This country is chosen by God, and God has chosen this country for a purpose. Zambia will stand. And one thing I can tell you is that the God of Israel has got a purpose for your life and for this country. Every Zambian matters. My condolences to the Lungu family and to the country at large. My contribution is on the part of the economics aspect of our country.
Okay.
When you were discussing, there's a part where you mentioned to say sustainability. I picked you on that one. I truly agree with you on that part. It's all about predictability and sustainability. Okay? So there are certain things that you need to consider when you're talking about economics. Talk about whether it's micro or macroeconomics. When you look at our country, what are the economic and financial indicators? These are the very things that can testify to how the country is performing. You start with the output. Okay? You look at the demand. How is the output? Productivity growth. Are we producing things in the country? You look at the demand. How is it going? How is the demand? Then you look at the jobs. These are economic and financial indicators. You also look at the prices and wages. You can judge for yourselves. You look at the labor cost. You look at the economic commodity price index. Okay? You look at trade. How is domestic trade? You look at the exchange rate, the FX. How is the exchange rate? Yeah, there are certain things that we should appreciate this government. There are certain things that they are doing well, but there are also areas where they are lagging. And there is nothing wrong in us criticizing where they're not doing fine and also giving advice. Okay? So what I can just say is I really appreciate you, brother, because you have that bipartisan aspect. When I see you, what I see is a person that loves his country for the love of country. Yes, you can be in the States there, but your heart is home. Okay? We love you, and I know God loves you. God loves this country, and there are so many people out there who are listening, and all they want is hope.
Yeah.
Let's pray for one another. Let's love one another. Even the president also needs to be encouraged. And as much as we criticize, we can as well advise on certain matters. Okay? Because nobody is perfect. So all these economic and financial indicators, they can also teach us something about how we are doing. Look at the external debt. Okay? It's one of the indicators. The national debt, the budget deficits, and all those things. In this country, we've got so many people who are well educated. But one thing I can tell you, this is our country.
The network is acting up, but we are back. Let's take those calls and the late president, the founder president of UPND, Anderson Mazoka, denounced the Freemasonry and actually even joined the Catholic Church, and he died a Catholic.
And I wish that I had a bit more time to listen to some of your normal sessions. Not shut media houses. The truth is that old habits die hard. There are some members of our society that still have that lingering, understanding that they can walk into a radio station and intimidate journalists. The law will catch up with them. The law will catch up with them. And slowly, this thing will die out. Because it's not an event. It's a process. It's teaching people how to behave. Because they behaved like that for 10 years. It became normal. So I just want to say to you, this government understands the importance of having the media, a serious professional media, genuine media. I know the flip side of not having a good media. I know that sometimes my wife used to ask me when I go home, do you mutate in the night and become a different animal? How come you are being called all these names in the media? I was a Mason, and someone even wrote a story, a government permanent secretary wrote a story and said, I know the Mason temple that HH goes to. He's a Mason, a Freemason. Really? And it was carried, the media institutions carried it. Total falsehood. Someone says, no, he's a Satanist. Have you seen the color of his party? Red means blood, they're killing people.
Good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. My name is Mama Matipa.
Yes, Mama. Make your contributions.
Yeah. I would like to contribute on what has been happening to Mamayowa Esther Lungu. When I saw the Zambian government taking this poor woman, lifting her from her mattress to go to court, I tell you, Mwamba, I was not shocked. I used to speak on social media. Some 2 years ago, I decided to come out with my story. Mwamba, in 2001, which is about 25 years ago, I lost my father. My father used to work for the Intercontinental Hotel. Under Zambia Hotel Properties. And Grand Thornton were the liquidators of that company. So I had taken my father to Zimbabwe to go and see the doctors there because he was ill. And he ended up dying in Zimbabwe. So we brought the body to Zambia. Mwamba, one day as I was in town doing shopping for the funeral and things like that, I got a call from the maid to say, Nyumba ya Mariro wavara. Bavara nyumba ya Mariro. At yes. That was 3. So I rushed back home, and true to the maid's words, the people that were inside were taken out of the house. And there was a letter from Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who happened to be the liquidator of Zambia Hotel property, Mwamba.
Yes.
I got up and I drove to Grand Thornton, and I met with Mr. Hakainde Hichilema in the boardroom. And he came with 2 other people. He brought 2 other people in the boardroom. And I told Mr. Hakainde, my father has passed on, and we were away in Zimbabwe, and we found a bill of rentals amounting to 4 million, now rebased to 4,000 kwacha. Mr. Hakainde, my father has died with money in his account. I am the administrator. The lawyer is doing all the necessary papers for me to sign a check so that I can pay all my father's bills and so on. The man didn't want to hear anything of it. I remember Mr. Hakainde Hichilema looking at his watch and saying to me, oh, we close at 4:15. You run around and look for the money, and I'll give you 2 officers to go and open the funeral house. Mwamba, I could not believe it. I was like, what? Who closes a funeral home? Abantu baletira pali ichiliro panganda. And the man wouldn't budge. This was in 2001, in May 2001.
How old were you then?
Well, I'm 60 years old now.
Ah, okay, okay. So you must have been, around 40, yeah. Oh my God.
Yes. You understand? And
so you are not shocked at the inhuman. You are not shocked at the inhuman treatment the First Lady is receiving.
I am not shocked at all, Mwamba. I am not shocked. When it happened, you know what? I laughed, Mwamba. I laughed in my house. I laughed out of sarcasm. I said, Uakalema taleka. He ran around, and I brought the 4,000 back to Grand Thornton, and he gave me 2 officers to go and open the funeral house. I couldn't be. So, Mwamba, if you feel it, sticker, umuntu efyo aba. Even when you have that clip when he says people are accusing him of being a Freemason, and people are saying, the devil, the party's got the color red, and yet they are also creating a party of, but how evil can you be? It is his actions that people are finding hard to believe. I believe he can do that because he did that to me.
Yeah.
And so for me, Mwamba, he's Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. The same way he refused to recognize Edgar Chagwa Lungu as a president. The same way I equally call him Mr. Hakainde Hichilema because he's not my president. He may be the president of Zambia, but not me. I respected that man that he decided to disrespect. That man brought me up, and so I feel for the family of Edgar Lungu. I've been there. I have grieved the same way they are grieving. And when I opened up Mwamba with this story About 2 years ago, a lot of people thought I was probably making up this story.
Yeah, like you're just politicking.
Like I'm politicking. You understand what I mean? And now that it has happened, Arena Zambia, I've had a chance to see what type of a person he is.
You are not the only one, Mama. Remember the Feluna Hatembo, that case that Edith Nawaki was interested in. At the heart of it was a farm irregular resort to President Hakainde Hichilema. You know, of course, he had the power, he had the financial muscle, he could hire lawyers. But at the heart of that issue that Edith Nawaki was pursuing, whether she was pursuing it for political purposes, there is a stolen farm at the heart of it that belonged to a deceased person. Similar story to what you were saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is made of the same flesh we are made, I can only wish him well. I only wish him well. He is a human being like all of us.
So if you made that story public, Madam Matipa, if you made that story public, please send me the details of whatever you had done. I'm interested in facts like that. Send me the details so that, you know, we can put it up for test. President Hakainde Hichilema must answer some of these issues. Yeah, so please send me the details. Yeah.
He's like that, Mr. Mwamba. He's like that. I will give you the details if you want.
Okay.
It happened to my family 25 years ago. It is something I will never forget.
Yes,
He never forgives.
Especially that you handled it yourself. Not third parties, you handled it yourself.
Exactly. So we can only wish him the best. If thinks he will live perpetually, so be it. Thank you for taking my call, Ambassador.
Thank you. I'm grateful, and thank you for that insight. Oh, that was a powerful call. That was a powerful call. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a slow day. It's Monday. People are just beginning the day. Tomorrow is a new day, you know, that we welcome. Here in the United States, we'll be celebrating 4th of July. It's a big, big day, you know, independence celebration when they celebrate the founding of the United States, rights and freedom and their quest for individual prosperity. That's 4th July. But tomorrow we begin 1st July. Many people have been saying, let's discuss the holidays that the president is rescheduling and condemning. Well, holidays in Zambia do not really matter because you have a few people in formal employment. It's not like in America where maybe only 6% are unemployed. In Zambia, you have an entire adult population literally unemployed. And formal employment is under 1 million people, over people that are eligible to be employed of 10 million people. So if you are not working, you're on holiday every day, hustling and looking for money. Holidays mean nothing to you. Holidays are important for people that work. So if our people are not working, every day is a holiday. So don't even say there are too many holidays. The entire year is a holiday if you have not provided for jobs for our people, our work. In fact, you know, when the population is working, governments promise more holidays so that the work productivity could be high. When people rest, they come back, they work harder. But in our country, you can't talk about productivity without talking about employment, without talking about economic opportunities for our people. So until we provide that, we can now complain about holidays. So the president is totally misdirected about the so many. He wants many people to work every time, and he says the holidays are too many. Bakateka, look at the people working and the people not working. In every household, sometimes there's only one person working, and there's a family of 10 eligible to work, maybe 6, 7, and they're not working. That's a crisis our country faces. So some of the debates that you want us to talk about are actually even taught. Can we discuss that there are too many holidays in our country when the entire year is a holiday for our people? Provide jobs, create economic opportunities, let our people be truly productive. that can only be done if you reindustrialize. You have jobs that are created, wealth that is created, that create jobs, opportunities for our entrepreneurs. Then we can talk about holidays. But I want to respond, they're on holiday the whole day. That's why social media is hot. Who has a naked video? Who has said what? Our media gets excited because we have a large population of our people that are not working, that you have a duty to put to work. We want to Akwalesa until tomorrow. Join us tomorrow. We have John Sangwa discussing major things. Number one, he delivered a paper at a conference that was organized by the Law Association of Zambia and Chapter 1 Foundation. They organized this conference where there were speakers and it was a public forum, wonderful forum. John Sangwa will speak to that paper that he presented. Then there have been developments. The president discontinued the process in parliament, probably knew what was coming. And then what's the way forward with this issue of the constitution? So John Sangwa will take time to highlight. Join us tomorrow. God bless you. God bless our country. Shalom, shalom.
One commando, as usually is the case.
Originally, why we changed was because we wanted a tamper-proof casket. Because people, you know, with rituals and things like that, people really are after his body or his body parts or whatever. So we wanted something that is tamper-proof. So that is why the casket was changed in the first place.
And so you can confirm that right now he's lying in a tamper-proof casket. But getting that tamper-proof casket, obviously, as you're saying, you wanted a tamper-proof casket. Where had you gotten the idea that somebody may want to tamper with his body, somebody may have an interest in any of his body parts? And could this really be the reason why you guys have decided against the mausoleum and not exactly the issue of trying to cut costs?
True, he wants to be, he said so. So, you know, we are trying to follow his wishes.
But just to interject there, you have given me that the bit of the wish, indeed, and we totally agree. But you still haven't told me where the idea that you need a tamper-proof casket, because he didn't say he wanted a tamper-proof casket. The idea of wanting that tamper-proof casket and the fact that they may be interested in tampering with his body, where did that come from specifically?
It came from him because he said to his wife, to Auntie Grace, that, you know, if and when I'm gone, don't leave my body and be careful, people want to use my body. It was him who said it to the former First Lady. So we knew that, you know, spiritually he probably knows something.
That also speaks to the fact that we also didn't see him being laying at least overnight at One Commando, as usually is the case. And that probably is that, are you confirming that's why also the family kept him at home and didn't leave him at One Commando and didn't leave him out of sight, because that's his expressed wishes before he died? Are you
not shut media houses? The truth is that old habits die hard. There are some members of our society that still have that lingering, you know, understanding that they can walk into a radio station and intimidate journalists. The law will catch up with them. The law will catch up with them. And slowly, this thing will die out. Because it's not an event. It's a process. It's teaching people how to behave. Because they behaved like that for 10 years. It became normal. So I just want to say to you, this government understands the importance of having the media, a serious professional media, genuine media. I know the flip side of not having a good media. I know that sometimes my wife used to ask me when I go home, do you mutate in the night and become a different animal? How come you are being called all these names in the media? I was a Mason, and someone even wrote a story, a government permanent secretary wrote a story and said, I know the Mason temple that HH goes to. He's a Mason, a Freemason. Really? And it was carried, the media institutions carried it. Total falsehood. Someone says, no, he's a Satanist. Have you seen the color of his party? Red means the blood, they're killing people. And someone became a politician years later and adopted the same red color as their party's color. Now, this is the environment we had. Colleagues, honestly speaking, I'm very privileged to be here today. And I wish that I had a bit more time to listen to some of your normal sessions.
Yapa mlemona mu Zambia ukusuminisha ba Freemason ukuisa paluwalala nga mwabelenga Encyclopedia Britannica yena yalondolo kwe bati the largest secret society umona satana abombesha ni Freemasonry, a largest kuma secret organizations na utomuru alikuwa Jesuits nga engine yatu kungwetonse nomba secret organization iyakula ibombefi yakupapa iyakwatisha nechuma nokuta initiate abantu direct ama initiates into pure satanism diba Freemason nga chakwe bati president you are not a Freemason. Freemason yechichi ngete tuli ba Freemason na ba MP besu muno muzambe tamuli ba Freemason ba member of parliament bada ma Freemason kuisa public li Muzambia but tan fieri bantu fibanda eliyo ukulanda pali ma Freemason ete mubikire kone funde ya cyber security cyber crime eti tutine tulelanda Freemason get out from Zambia fuleni mu Muzambia ba Freemason nga kuli chalo chala tolo mupamba ni Zambia ukulagula na maskulu ba Freemason bakula ati twapele li skulu classroom wi wena bana bakala Zambia mwabona bakaba fibanda wisa parwala na ba Freemason here in Zambia in a Christian nation Freemasonry mwadi basho ba Freemason na kalima mule mfuafe pa Mungu wake ama Freemason nga wafika mu 33 degree ya bu Freemason bale ishibano kushibati uwo bale pepa ni satana fiomune direct communication with the devil ebantu wingaleta mucharo cha Zambia if the blind lead the blind both shall fall into the ditch kubomba kwa ba Jesuit mlemuna ukula shenkana pamishikile ya chilo chabalungu ilibale shenkana ni shifimo Filepita imoma no posele kuchitumbi ba Freemason bale ingila mu Zambia no kubombe milimo yabo Sunday na yoba ilonda tika pange inshila mumfimfi blind leading the blind idini ine pali ichililwechi mwalabu mfiala ingila mu Zambia fingi mamuleti itanawa ashikwe fyako kwile kusasa ashiko kusasa na wishime vyolela ndayo teka nyaikala punch ichichililo chala ingishe fingi mchalo efyo babomba in a country where there are Jesuits it is either they rule or the country must be ruined umabale tungulu na babantu ichalo kuchifulunganye ngapali ichalo fibalefu ayokupota umukoshi ba upotonganye chalo cha Zambia ichaita declare kwebatu we are a Christian nation ilipusha can a Christian nation allow the Freemasons? That is the question. If so, then it means we are being led by the blind leaders who are leading the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. Zambia ngale tuuro naba menso mwali bafena bashima pepo apoko twala mwena bufadha bwenu ngategwa satanism stand up and blame Freemasonry eko twala mwena bupasta bwenu ngategwa kupanda imini neni mulandi okwebati ba Freemason ababa atwala echibele shugwisa Muzambia na palwala tatlefifuaya we have history pali ba Freemason ngamrefu amubalete mutwega ati cyber security takuli kunkaka first kubula twa kukoti twaberenge efyalemba pali ba Freemason elionga na shinino I am ready to be sent to jail.
I just want to share that I just lost my daughter this morning.
Thank you.
I lost my daughter this morning at 2 in the morning. For the past 1 week, I have had discussions with the people here at the force headquarters about the fact that I have a predicament. I have a daughter who is dying. They asked me for documentation to prove that the young lady was coming back from India, all the information from the doctors that she had a terminal illness, including the fact that there was a statement that she was dying. But they still insisted that I had to come to the police station, whatever this place is called. So I came as a mourning mother to come for interrogation. And I was ready to be interrogated, and whatever they decided they want to do, I told them to go ahead and do it. But my lawyer decided that I shouldn't go ahead and do it. But I was ready because I don't know what's happening to this country. And this is exactly my position. There is no love in this country. There's no empathy in this country. There's no anything where, when your friends have a bereavement, it makes sense to other people. So I'm here as a grieving mother, and I availed myself for the interrogation or whatever was decided had to be done to me. And I will be available, but I have to mourn. And the mourning doesn't take 1 week or 1 day or whatever. So that's it. I came today. Now I'll be available when I finish mourning.